Greetings, hi, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, greetings, hi, and if you're not, thank you for coming back. Thanks for joining. On my channel we discuss all things self-improvement, mental health, fitness, exercise, and general good vibes. So thank you for being. About a year ago, at the start of the pandemic, I started reading James Clear's Atomic Habits at the recommendation of my wonderful boyfriend, and I thought, wow, this book is life-changing, it is game-changing, and so I decided to pledge 6 months of complete self-improvement to myself and my life using the tips and methods in James Clear's book that I want to share with you today. I wanted to share an update with you and let you know how it's going, how things have gone using that book and the methods in there. I wanted to make healthy, holistic changes and habits in my life that had absolutely nothing to do with calorie counting and Pinterest aesthetic morning routines, which are a vibe, I will not lie. That green smoothie, you know how it looks, it slaps so hard. However, I wanted my changes to have everything to do with mindset habits and mental health and a general sense of well-being rather than things that are always quantifiable. And I think I found a lovely balance and mix of those two using James Clear's Atomic Habits and just implementing it into my life and making sure I make changes and adjustments at the end of the day that suit me instead of suiting what I think it should look like to other people. I kept a habit tracker and a journal for the year, and these are my results. So according to James Clear in Atomic Habits, the 4 laws of behavioral change, or changing something and making it into a habit, is that it has to be obvious, it has to be easy, it has to be attractive, and it has to be satisfying. If it fills all 4 of these criteria, you will be able to change and implement this new behavior or habit consistently, and then it becomes more natural, almost like second nature. You no longer have to think about it. The best place to start is to have a starting ritual. You don't need to focus on having an entire routine, but rather a starting ritual. If the starting ritual is easy, you'll be able to build momentum, thus making this habit stick. After keeping a habit tracker and a journal on me for the last year, the results are as follows. I've been exercising on average approximately 4 times a week. That means sometimes none at all, sometimes 6 times a week, sometimes 3 times a week. However, on a consistent basis, the average has been about 4 times a week for the past year. Most of that specifically was weightlifting, which is something I really wanted to implement in my life. Weightlifting, high intensity interval training, a little bit of yoga and stretching and those kinds of things that had nothing to do with going for a run, which is something I was doing quite often. I've also picked up mountain biking. It's also quite the game changer in terms of how much activity I get using that. Hey guys, Editing Noni here. I just wanted to take this opportunity to show off my new bike riding skills. I know I don't look that fast, but I'm so fast, and I'm gonna say my butt looks good in these like cycling pant things, bib shorts I think, and I love cycling with Babe. Okay, bye.
Lovely day.
And I have 2 very intense high energy dogs, which means that my movement in general is quite a lot because I have to take them out for walks or they become super crazy and super destructive, but still adorable. Anyway, the next meditation, 7 out of 7 every week, so that's 100%. I always meditate, but that also was something that took a lot of effort, and that's been over the past 3 years about. So, and then in terms of reading, I wanted to keep reading every single day, and that was averaging on approximately 5 times a week because I was still in university. However, I must admit that that has dropped significantly purely because I don't necessarily have deadlines and I'm not writing essays and I'm not forced to do any of that reading. So to some degree, university was helping me with that habit. And so I will have to improve on that. And that's the point of the habit tracker and the journal, to see what habits stick, how you can make them stick, or what you need to throw away or what you need to adjust. What I wanted to do using James Clear's Atomic Habits was to cut down on the number of cups of coffee I was drinking a day, because that was also contributing to my anxiety. However, it was a habit that I was drinking 2 or more cups of strong black coffee every single day. No milk, no sugar, so it was very intense. Another thing I wanted to do was to introduce weightlifting into my routine, as well as high intensity interval training in small doses, just to, build some definition, burn some fat, and make sure I'm constantly moving every day, because I don't have a gym membership and I don't necessarily enjoy gyms or the experience of being in a gym. It doesn't give me motivation, it doesn't bring joy, so that's something I completely don't do. So I needed to make sure I was getting all of that movement and exercise elsewhere. I also wanted to habitually make general good eating choices most of the time, so like the 80-20 rule. I didn't want to have an all or nothing mindset, like that was what was happening every time I would do a restrictive diet, etc. So instead of calorie counting and all those things, I rather changed my mindset using the Atomic Habits and making small decisions every day regarding my eating that benefit me. So in general, 80% of the time I eat pretty well, whole foods and plant-based stuff, organic, whatever, and 20% of the time it's whatever. And when I noticed that that balance has shifted out of 80-20, which requires some accountability and honesty to yourself, okay, don't pretend that that's not what needs to happen here. When I noticed that that balance was shifting from 80-20 to 60-40, then 50-50, then 40-60, I knew then I needed to go back and evaluate my choice making each and every day. So habit tracking and journaling really helps you to evaluate, stay aware, and make the appropriate decisions based on the results you are getting every week from what you see and what you're doing or not doing. So this was some of my application using the habit tracking and journaling and habit stacking, as well as having good starting rituals. In the mornings, I was already used to having a second cup of coffee while checking my emails after meditating. So I decided, instead of having that second cup of coffee, because I know I will always go to the kitchen to go make something to drink while I check those emails, I rather started making a lemon water, like a hot lemon water drink, or apple cider vinegar, lemon water, and hot water mixed together. There are no there's no scientific evidence to show that apple cider vinegar or lemon water is like some sort of miracle, but I did find that it eased my digestion having it in the morning nearly every day for a year, having it in the morning, and maybe in combination with everything I did, it resulted in some weight loss. But that's not necessarily anything you should quote me on. I'm just letting you know that's what I do, and it helps me stay whole, balanced, let's say stable, just good vibes. I just like to do it. I do it. Anyway, so while the kettle would be boiling for this lemon water concoction, I would then put on some exercise clothes, which was set out the night before. My exercise, yoga mat, and all that stuff are in a visible place, so the cues are right there. So that's my whole starting ritual. By the time I'm dressed and have my lemon water and I've checked my emails and put my mat out, it's like too late to turn back. I can't not exercise if I'm dressed and ready, although it has happened where I have before. Then how I made these habits really satisfying, which is the lemon water drinking and the weightlifting, etc., was that I have certain series and podcasts and playlists that I may only listen to, and this is a deal I made with myself, may only listen to while I am doing the activity of drinking said lemon water, checking said emails, and doing said weightlifting. See what I'm saying? See what James Clear was saying, he was like, you gotta make things work for yourself so that you'll do them. Otherwise you won't do them. And I'm like, damn straight. So what I learned and what is very obvious and what is explained in the book is you need to focus on getting 1% better little by little, and that brings massive, remarkable results. And as you build momentum, you get better exponentially and not in a linear fashion. Secondly, I learned that building habits, it takes time and it takes trial and error, and you need to see what works for you very specifically. What works for me might not work for you. I might as well tell you, Yarn, you need to exercise more. You might agree with me that, Yarn, you need to exercise more. But if your environment isn't conducive to making sure you are exercising more, if your environment isn't conducive to make sure you are managing stress well, if your environment isn't conducive to make sure you're drinking more water or eating well or setting systems for yourself for those purposes specifically, then you will fall to the level of your environment and you will not meet your goals or change your habits. And I was like, ding, 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 ain't that the truth? Alright, so in the previous video, I mentioned that I wanted to have a plan or a to-do list, a go-to from when I was struggling with my mental health and have anxiety. And so what I did was I made myself a little mental health box or little care package, and within that box or care package, I know there are things in there that will help me to self-soothe or to overcome a particular emotion that I use and take with me as many places as I can. In this box, when I'm at home, of course, I have my hot water bottle just purely for the comfort feeling. It's very grounding, and when the water is like super hot and sort of that feeling on my skin brings me out of my head and back into my body. In there I also have a flash drive, a flash stick or a hard drive with all my favorite movies on it, chick flicks, all the good vibes that I know I can just plug in and watch. There are also comfortable clothes in there. If I'm not wearing something comfortable or I'm from work, I'll immediately change into something that's like really, really, really cozy and schlumpy and changes the game. I also have this really strange item. It's a bottle and I have like cinnamon sticks in it. And it was from my mom, and it's just like nice to have, and I open it and I smell it. It's like really weird. Why am I telling this? But it's happening, I'm telling you. And that's what I have. And that's my little care box. Sometimes there are snacks in it depending on whether or not I remember to replace them after binge watching. And that's one of the ways I take care of myself. And I found that was part of reading Atomic Habits, was finding ways that were going to uplift me and things that were going to uplift me. And so that's what I did. And after the little mental health breakdown is over, I'll pack everything back and go forth. Go forth and be free. So people habit track using lots and lots of different methods. Some include like digitally on one's phone. Some people use like a notebook that they carry around, and I have a notebook in my bag that I carry around, but I also use a whiteboard. In the previous video I had little pieces of paper and I was doing a tally, and when that paper ran out, I used a whiteboard that I can see, and I'll do the little tally or do it in my notebook if I'm out and about and I forgot. Good to have a notebook to jot down which activities or habits I have completed or have not completed, and then go from there. So you can use a myriad of methods, just depends what like feels good for you and for your sort of schedule and life and where you are and who you are and what you like. Just feel like my lips are getting super dry. Anyway, then I noticed that when I have told people I was doing habit tracking or those close to me, one of the questions was, what about the pressure of having to like have a habit tracker or something every day that you're like writing in? And I get it and I agree. Initially, it was overwhelming, it was kind of daunting. However, the accountability aspect is, there is something so wonderful about seeing yourself improve physically. It creates a positive feedback loop neurologically, and that positive feedback loop keeps momentum. And another thing I learned just on the side was that making good choices helps you keep making good choices. So the more good choices you make, the more momentum you build in order to make good choices. The more you find yourself at a crossroads having to make a choice between a good habit and a bad habit, the more often you make the good choice, the more often you will make the good choice. Anyway, now I'm back. When you track your habits, you physically see those good choices, and you also see when you're falling off the wagon. And if you have any sort of self-awareness and self-compassion and self-love on the times you are not necessarily ticking all the right boxes, you can look at yourself with self-compassion and be like, okay, this is where I'm going wrong. No one's going to judge me. I'm not judging me. I'm a human being. Life happens. Let me have a look. Ooh, didn't really do any joyful movement this week. Let me get to it. Go for a walk. Go enjoy some sun. And if you don't want to, don't. But the idea is that the habit tracker keeps you very accountable. It's something you can see. It's something that you can't really can't lie or keep it in the back of your head. So having one where you can see it and where you can use it every single day changes the game. Thanks you, James Clear. You have helped me become fitter. You've helped my skin become just a little bit better. You've helped me drink more water. You've helped me be better with my anxiety. Or maybe I've helped me do all of those things using that book. Nailed it. Like and subscribe. Boom. Drops mic. Bye.